Barnaby is the premier podcast spotlighting people of color. Every week, we talk news, what we've been playing, and tell you who's invited to the cookout. Our show is all about talking about gaming through a prism of blackness, because we are the culture. Welcome to Chicago, y'all.
What's good with everybody in Chicago? This is Khalif here, and I am very, very excited because we have the team from Night Street Games and my man, my mellow, the smooth kind of fellow, Eli Harris, the voice of Julius Reeves, to talk about their new game, Last Flag. But before we talk to them about all the cool stuff that they're doing, I want to show you the trailer that got shown at Summer Games Fest because it is super, super dope. So let's check that out, and then we'll get back to the conversation.
Adios!
Wish list now.
So I'm very excited about everything I just got a chance to see for multiple reasons that we're going to get into. But Mac, first I want to again thank you for being here and coming to hang out on the show. As CEO, you have the wonderful task of telling everybody at home what they just got a chance to see.
Oh, well, thanks for having me out. So stoked to be here today with Jay. Yeah, you know, this the whole kind of concept behind this, my brother Dan, who's a co-founder with me, you know, we grew up in Boy Scouts and we used to play capture the flag in the woods at night, right? We had that kind of quintessential childhood experience where you're the thrill of nature, you're a hero, you're sneaking across the battle lines. And, you know, we were thinking about all the capture the flag game modes, right, over the years, Unreal Tournament, Quake, Warsong Gulch, all these great games. None of them really had hiding and finding. And some of those things that were kind of the core of that real experience is more about like, you know where their base is, I'm going to do payload escort, I'm going to bring it back. And so we're like, well, what does it feel like when you actually get to hide your own flag? And it feels like, you know, the real capture the flag experience we had as a kid. So that was where we started from, and it kind of developed into what today is, you know, it's like a third-person shooter, but really, no, it's first capture the flag. Like everything from the characters to the level design to the gameplay elements is all around this kind of core experience of the freedom of real hiding and fighting.
I'm even more excited because this is a genre that is near and dear to my heart. It is a thing that I love to play in games where, you know, I'm a first-person shooter fan, third-person shooter fan at heart. And I remember my most favorite sessions when I got a chance to play competitive stuff, because I'm very competitive, probably too much. I'm probably too Virgo to be competitive. But Capture the Flag is the mode that I want more people to play. When I would play Halo, It was my favorite mode. It was the mode that I was like, why is no one else in this game type with me? Because everybody wants to play Big Team Battle or something else. But now that you're bringing a very dedicated version of Capture the Flag to the space, I am super hyped. Talk to me a little bit about what it was like to kind of start the process of, again, you know, you had that memory with you and your brother of growing up in those spaces and having this understanding of, you know, what is that childhood memory that would relate to a game. But most folks don't say, hey, I've done that thing and now I want to go build a studio. What was the impetus for you two to kind of start that process and talk about, like, we have meat on the bones here that is going to be really good and we want to actually make this thing come true? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like so many other people, Dan and I, we grew up, we got a ton of brothers in our family. There's 8 boys and 1 girl, and we used to all play games together growing up, right? That was just a big part of our childhood. And, you know, I when I was young, I started doing 3D modeling and animating, and, you know, Dan kind of got into coding. He still does a ton of work in C#. He's always built little games in Unity and you know, posting them online anonymously usually and stuff. So we talked about making games for years, done tons of collaborations with Imagine Dragons, with gaming studios. But this was like a dream kind of in you know, on the shelf for quite a long time. I found like a paper recently that my mom brought out, this stuff from like her garage that was like 3rd grade, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was own a video game studio, just like very weirdly specific. I was like, okay, like that's kind of weird for a 3rd grader, but you know, this is like a dream, and to be able to rub shoulders with, you know, folks on our team who just worked on some of our favorite games that we've ever played is just magical.
Yeah.
And learning to kind of crack the code on Capture the Flag, which was tricky. Like there was definitely some obstacles along the way. Has just been like an amazing journey. So we're really stoked. We've been in quiet mode for like years, you know, working on this, and now to finally be able to share it with people is really exciting, you know.
I want to come back to that in a second, but I want to pull Jay into the conversation, because I know one of the things that's really difficult, but also super rewarding, is kind of speaking to what Mac was talking to, like being able to work with so many veterans of the gaming space. I know in my own personal time of working at studios, those are the folks who I've gotten a chance to really, you know, tap on their shoulders and be like, when you worked on that thing, how was that? And what did you do here? And what are the conversations you had to work in that space? As a producer, you're having to, again, wrangle a bunch of cats to make a thing happen, to make things work, while also kind of like making the deadlines to make sure that the game is on track with those things. Talk to me a little bit about your journey into the game dev space and what you worked on, you know, what kind of projects you had a chance to get in touch with, and how has it been to work on this one?
Sure. Well, I actually started out as an English teacher, working in a Brazilian company. I had to help people understand some things that came in English from external QAs and from other stuff too. We were having some challenges with organizing, you know, the priorities, especially coming from external parties. So they brought me in and they were like, okay, can you help the team organize here? And I did, and I had a lot of fun doing so. And that's how I ended up starting to work as a producer in a gaming company. I found out that, you know, helping people understand their priorities and what should come next was actually a producer's job. And I found out I also loved doing that. So that's how I started in the gaming industry. I've worked on a couple of projects, Cobra Kai 2, The Walking Dead, Destinies, that came out recently. A couple of projects that haven't been announced yet, so I can't share. But last year, I was very happy to get a message from the team inviting me to join this amazing company and work on something very creative. My dream was always to work on an original IP. I wanted to be a part of, you know, a dream being built from the start. So when I saw the idea, this 70s vibe and the gameplay, I just fell in love with it, and that's when I joined.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've always said to folks who ask about the process of making games, I say, if you ever see a game out in the world, go thank a producer. Because those are the folks who make it all happen behind the scenes. Those are the folks who are, again, making sure that everything is on track and that all those things are kind of getting into the games that they are trying to make. So I feel that in a real way of seeing people who are making those leaps into this game, especially from a space that is so different than game making in terms of teaching. But I feel like there are through points in there that make a ton of sense. So excited to hear that that's a part of the way you kind of got into the space. Eli, we got to bring you in, especially the voice of Chicago, Eli Harris coming through. Also the voice of Julius Reeves, who you heard in the beginning of that dope trailer. We've known each other forever at this point. I'm still trying to get you to adopt me into the family because you already got some shorties. So I'm trying to be the fourth in the fam. But what I love about your work is you consistently are in so many different spaces with your expertise, and every time I see you connected to a project, it is different, it is fun, it is interesting, and you consistently bring something new and fresh to everything that you do. What was it like getting the call from the Night Street crew and saying, hey, we want you to be a part of this project?
Well, one, I got to give a shout out to Gerald Valoria. I've known Gerald for a couple of years, and it's interesting. He and I never physically met, but we would communicate via LinkedIn. And so there were some projects that he had been working on before, but, some things didn't work out with those. And so then he had hit me up and said, hey, man, I got this original IP that I'm working on that I think you would be perfect for. And he said, I'm going to reach out to Mac, let Mac know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who's Mac? And so then come to find out, talking Imagine Dragons, man. And I'm such a huge fan of this group.
Yeah.
So Gerald told Mac, if I got the story correct, Gerald had told you, Mac, about me, and you had heard some stuff. And then Gerald made the connection for Mac and I to meet. And the moment that we talked, it just clicked like that, like just automatic. For Mac to be at the position that he is, the individual that he is, with the immense amount of success with he and his brother, as well as other things that he do, he's an incredibly humble dude. Easy to talk to, very clear. And so, the moment that he told me what this game was about, like Capture the Flag. See, we used to have a variant of Capture the Flag around my way. Yes. So I'm gonna date myself a little bit on this. Back in the 80s, Kung Fu theater was a major thing. And we used to watch Kung Fu theater, and then like during the summer, the USA Network would have Kung Fu June. So it'd be like Sundays at the church would watch Kung Fu theater, and then there's Kung Fu June. We would actually have Ninja Wars. So it was similar to what Capture the Flag was, but we would build like a fort in the woods, and the goal was to reach the ninja fortress. Exact same thing as Capture the Flag, but it would be ninjas. So when I saw that, and I saw the character and I saw the name, I'm like, is this a spinoff off of Bass Reeves? Bass Reeves, the bounty hunter. And Mac was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to my guy about that, because, he would know more about that with Matthew, right? That's who you talked about, is Matthew.
Our game director, Matthew Berger.
Nice.
Matthew Berger, yes. And so, and then it was the whole 70s vibe, because I'm a 70s baby. I was born in 76. So it was just a beautiful thing to be a part of. It was original, real original. And there's other things I'll speak on as we go into later in the podcast, but that's how I got involved. The connection through Gerald Valoria, having built such a good relationship with him, and him appreciating my work, and then him connecting me with Mac and his Night Street Games team. That's how I got involved.
That's dope, because one of the things that I always love the origin stories of games is not only just the kind of like, how do you pull in talent that feels like a perfect fit for things, and again, like you're a perfect fit for pretty much everything that you get cast in, so it's great to see that continue to be the thing here. But what I love to hear is that conversation about the inspiration parts of not only the character but the world and all of those things. And Mac, I want to talk to you a little bit about, we talked a little bit about the inspiration for the game itself, but what brought me in immediately was the vibe and the aesthetic that you're leaning into. This kind of 70s funk joint is real interesting to have as this space, and it feels like it gives you so many ways to kind of think about what do you want this world to look like and the world building that you're in. Talk to me a little bit about why this vibe, why this kind of era. You know, what was the impetus for you and the team to kind of to play in this space?
Yeah, Dan and I, we grew up playing a lot of LucasArts games, and we talk about that studio a lot, right? Like, we loved how you always feel like you're kind of in on the joke. It's like smart humor, right? Like, we reference Portal a lot too. Games where it's like tongue kind of firmly in cheek, and like you really, you just like immerse yourself in that world. And when we talked about kind of where this game made sense from the very, very beginning, for whatever reason, we felt like 70s was like, which can mean a lot of things, right, to people. 70s can be like flower child, it can be whatever, and in different countries it means different things. But for us, it was like the big personalities, like the expressionism of the 70s. That's what got us really excited. That kind of larger than life kind of thing, kind of like a Tarantino 70s, where it's like just got like a little bit of swagger. And it's funny because, Julius Reeves ended up just kind of being the face of that first trailer for us, not purposefully, but in many ways, like that character just represented that. He's also like an author, and he's very entrepreneurial, and he's a bounty hunter, and he's out there kind of like in some ways like promoting the book. And yeah, it's there's a lot of layers to the story that I won't get into today, but a lot of mystery to unravel as well. There might even be things hidden in the trailer. Actually, I've never said that before, but I'll say it here first. But there's a lot of there's this kind of the sinister backstory of this guy, Victor Fex, who creates the television show. Vex TV is his network, but it's Vex Enterprises, and there's some kind of question marks about like, well, why did he make this show? And all these contestants have their own reasons for being on the show, but there's also kind of this underlying mystery that you can dive into and sink your teeth into a little bit as well. But I will say, when we talked to Eli, it was so very atypical of voice casting, where usually we cast a huge net and talk to a billion people and whatever else. We were on the phone, and I think when it really clicked, I said something and Eli laughed, and I was like, oh dude, that's it, man. That's it. That's Julius. We're never going to find anybody better than this. Like, it just was so perfect and just so lovely to work with. And it's been a fun ride together.
What's the collaborative kind of work look like across the studio? Like, I think studio heads and usually creative directors kind of have those initial moments where you kind of get the brief, you get the pitch for what the game is going to wind up being. You start to iterate on the minutia of what that looks like from a design perspective, from a gameplay loop perspective, from a audio-visual perspective. You start to get all of those things together. What were the kind of initial things that you were like, this must be in it? Like, this must be in the game. We must have this as a touch point. This must be a pillar that will drive the direction for what we're building. What were some of the first things that you all talked about in the team about around those things?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a journey because you start the game idea is like yours at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then when you start finding things, the game then starts telling you what you need to know, and you have to kind of try to honor that, and eventually like the players own it, right? And you got to learn from them. So early on, we knew we wanted to capture the flag, right? But we were looking at like isometric gameplay. We were looking at fog of war. We tried a ton of different things. And what we found early on is that hiding and finding, it's like the same feeling you get in Gorilla Tag, where it's like a simple kind of, everybody understands it, and that's what makes it so special. It feels so good to have like hidden the flag somewhere cool and people are just dying trying to find it, or vice versa when you're like roaming the map and you find it. Like, we knew that was special and different, but it was challenging because there was all these other ideas we had, right? We had like this like Wendigo beast you could kill that turned the sky to night, and we had these kind of MOBA elements, and we had to kind of peel away those things as we went through it and say, no, this is what's great, and how do we honor that? And so We spent like 6 to 8 months. Matthew Berger did such an amazing job of helping us really kind of pause everything and say, okay, just game loop. Like, let's just keep iterating on that and seeing where it gets. And it took us down this road to where we are today, where we found a balance where you had the freedom and chaos of hiding and finding, which we think is imperative, but balance with some objective decisions you can make. So there are these radar towers across the middle of the map. And if you own a tower, every 30 seconds, it eliminates a search area on the enemy side of where their flag might be.
Ooh.
And so you're making these decisions as a team, like, how much am I fighting over these towers to like eliminate search areas and hone down my search versus how much do we roll the dice and just go out looking for the flag? And you can play it the way you want to play. If I'm a terrible shooter, I am kind of not that great. I'm extremely competitive, as Jay will tell you. I have to be like really careful in all of our, play tests because I get very passionate, and me and Matthew have this rivalry. And anyway, I'm not very great, but I do enjoy it. But I can say, our team's getting outgunned. Like, we're just going to skip the towers. We're going to sneak around the back line. Or I might be good at hiding and finding and not good at shooting, but I can contribute. Or I can be good at sneaking around and killing these cash bots that spawn and earning money for my team. So there's a lot of ways to contribute as different types of players. And that was really important to us as well. We're very casual, competitive, like fun first, competitive second.
Yeah. Jay, I want to kick it to you really quick, because that always sparks a question in my mind once we start to talk about game loop and all those things. So, like, you're getting information from Mac and the team to say, here's the vision, here's the things we're trying to implement, and you as a producer get a chance to kind of execute on some of that stuff. One of the things that always comes up when I have discussions with folks who are doing the work you do is the happy surprise, right? Is the thing that you didn't expect to come out of either a gameplay session or a brown bag or a discussion about the technology that you're using to kind of get the game in a good spot. Were there things that you can talk about that were happy occurrences that kind of either changed the way the game was kind of moving, or something that became a feature? Again, give me the super high level so we don't dig into the weeds and share stuff that's not available to be known. But, like, were there moments in your work that you were like, oh, this thing that came out of a gameplay session, we really like that. Maybe we should implement that and put that into the way the game goes?
Yeah, actually, we play test the game a lot. So we try to play the game at least twice a week. Because I work with the design team, we play the game basically every day of the week. And we really value feedback, both internal and external, when we can get external feedback. So we've had quite some changes based on feedback since I joined. It's funny to think, when I joined like a year ago, some of the abilities of the characters we see right now were very different. They would do, things that are definitely not even similar to what they do now. And that took a lot of iteration. And it was a surprise, right? Because it's not that they weren't fun. They weren't fun back then. But we saw it could be even better. We had some room for improvement there. So we made some time. We're trying to have some time to iterate on feedback every time we plan for all the surprises we might have. Something that might not click the way we expected, or some crazy idea for our next map. We are actually implementing some crazy idea that came out of a playtest. Like, oh, what if we could do that? And it turned out to be great. So, we prototyped and it worked, and it's gonna make it. So we try to leave some room for all these wonderful surprises we have.
Yeah, that's rad.
Just to build on one thing Jay was saying there, I mean, a lot of the best features have come out of pain points. We struggled for a lot on like respawn, for example. It was like, respawn is never fun in a game, sitting around waiting to be born. And we also had a problem where if you die, you can respawn at a radar tower you own. And it's like, so we had this kind of clunky UI system where it's like, we got to click on the radar tower and then you spawn there later. And anyway, that problem and some of the feedback we got turned into this whole kind of green room feature that we have, where you start the game now in this green room where you can see the enemy team across this glass wall. You can go like dance in front of them, throw stickers on the wall, whatever. But then there's these tubes that are kind of like old 70s bank tellers, where you run into it, it's like whoop, pulls you up. And that tube system now like takes you to whatever you could go to like the spawn points you own now. So I own Tower B. There's like a glass tube that like spins around. It's like accessible to the other team or our team. And so it basically solved our problem of, how do you make it easy to go to to teleport to the places you own. So it helped out with that, but it also made for a much funner experience. When I die and I come back to the green room, I might see an enemy running to their tube C and call out to my team like, oh, they're going to C, they're probably running the flag past there. There's all these kind of meta moments that kind of come out of that. And I don't think we ever would have thought to create something like that if we weren't like problem solving and listening to feedback when we were playing.
Ooh, that just got me really excited because I think one of my favorite parts of games like this is intel. Like, I think having good intel is a thing that is so important for games like this, and it becomes a real hard thing when you have, especially, if I'll reference Halo again, like you had those big team battle capture the flag moments, and everyone's kind of is doing their own thing, right? You have the people who are playing Overwatch and not literally playing Overwatch, but being Overwatch and either trying to shoot people who are trying to track the flag down and capture stuff. You have the runners who are going, you have the defenders, you have those folks. You have so many different versions of that, but with a gameplay loop that is pretty short. It sounds like matches usually are around like 15 to 20 minutes or so.
10 to 15 minutes, even,
10 to 15?
Typically, never more than 20.
That's right.
And in that time, you have flag hiding, you have point capture over the radar towers, you have payload escort trying to get that flag back to your home base, you have base assault and defense, because at the end of the match, you run it back to your base, you have to defend it for 1 minute to win, which is the climax of everything, by the way. I'm like, Khalif, get up on the roof, call out where they're coming from. Like, Eli, block this door. You're like batting down the hatches. You're getting yourself ready for like an assault from the enemy team. So it happens super quick. And it touches a lot of familiar notes in terms of like gameplay, but like there's some real novel things too. And a lot of psychology when you're watching people, like you're like, dude, they're fighting so hard over Tower C. There's only a couple squares left there. I bet their flag is there. Or are they just trying to throw us off because they know like we're going to look at A otherwise? So you're really like constantly trying to outsmart the other team.
I gotta say it was
Go ahead, Eli. Sorry.
During the LAN party when I had a chance to play it and really get into it, I gotta say it was really intense for me. And when you spoke of the green room, that's one of the things that stood out to me when I got cheated, man. But when someone cast me out, and I'm not even gonna get into it because it was one of Mac's team. It was one of Mac's guys on his team that did me really wrong, and I'm not even gonna say his name, but he did me wrong. But
if you got to blast him, Eli, if you got to blast him, I won't hold it against you.
I'm not gonna do that to him because he and I joked about it afterwards and everything. I had him too, and somehow he just disappeared into a pipe, and I'm like, come on, man, because he had no help. But when I lost my health and I went down to the green room, that actually stood out to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is pretty freaking interesting, because I thought I had to sit around and wait for a respawn. But yeah, you go down to this room and you can just get sucked right up into this pipe. And I thought that was really neat. And then the communication aspect of it, like, it's been a while since I did a LAN party like that, where there's a room full of people and everybody is just talking and communicating. And, playing Last Flag brought back some memories to me. I'll just leave it at that because, I'm an old head. So LAN parties is what we used to do, whether if it was on Doom or whatever. But this one really brought back some memories. It was fun. It was fun.
I mean, it's a hard thing to game map, right? Like, what do you do when you die in a game? Especially for, it's what 4v4 basically, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 5v5.
5v5.
Yeah.
So you have 10 players in a map. And those moments when you are battling over that stuff, those moments when you're in between in such a short amount of time, do really like take a lot of thought behind what is the experience for the player that is happening while they're waiting. It is a thing that is a constant for a lot of different kinds of games to be like, and as soon as you are in a version of it that feels different, that it feels different, right? Like that idea of how are you building a thing out so that you're respecting the player's time and you're also giving them something to do while they're in those in-between spaces. I want to come back to another part of the gameplay loop because I think that's important. But Eli, I want to come back to you really quick because one of the things that I've always been curious about for the process for you is you're a part of these projects as a part of an ensemble, right? Like you are the person who's coming in for this specific character. But what I saw in the trailer that was really intriguing to me was there are so many different versions of characters within this world that have their own flavor, have their own vibe, have their own kind of aesthetic and sound. I don't know where you all are in the process of recording things and getting to get feedback and stuff. Are you getting a chance, or have you had a chance to get to work off of any of the other VO artists who are doing any of the other characters and stuff to kind of, or is there interplay in there that's baked in between characters like quips and barks and stuff like that between people, or if that's something that's too behind the curtain and I can't know yet, that's fine too.
Yeah, those are elements I think that's being worked on right now.
Okay.
That I'm sure Mac and then we'll get to at a later date.
Yeah.
As far as for me, Mac told me exactly what it is that he was looking for. And one of the characters that I was thinking of when I saw this was Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
With Michael Jai White, who is someone that I've met before as well. And Mac was pretty much like, have fun with him. You know, we want to hear this kind of cool. He's not this heavily intense guy. There could be a hint of seriousness with him, and you know, Mac allowed me flexibility with Julius. So some of the stuff you hear in the beginning with the, you know, it's just me having fun.
Dude, I wish we had all of his scat stuff because we could have made a whole reel of it. It was so good. We probably had like 10 times that in there, and we just didn't have time for it. But one day there'll be a reel.
Because the reason I brought that up is because I've worked with you so much and have seen this same picture of you in the booth while we've recorded stuff together. And I'm picturing your face doing that sound and doing the thing. And it's just great because it's like, it's one of those things that comes across, right? Like we all bring our personality to the work. And I think especially you in the work that you get a chance to do, you're pulling in pieces of yourself all the time that is like a part of some of this while also crafting new experiences and new characters all the time. So that was just a thing that reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, that must have been super fun. Go ahead, Eli, sorry.
Well, and that's one of the things that you as a voice actor that we really appreciate when we work with teams is the teams that allow us to have some flexibility, to have a little bit of say, like Mac and his team even gave me the opportunity to come up with some lines of my own. You know, so when you have a team that is, you know, creative, have a great vision, but they also allow you to have, you know, a little bit of say and see what you could bring to the table, it just makes it a lot more fun. So when you hear stuff like the scatting that I was doing, it's all genuine. Yeah. It doesn't come off like I'm doing something off of a script or it's something that's manufactured. It's just letting loose and having fun. And being able to do that vocally with a game that they are designing for you to have fun. I got to say this part. I don't know if this is going to be part of the interview or your questions, but at Summer Game Fest, there was a lot of great games announced, like a whole lot of great games announced. When Last Flag dropped, it broke up the monotony of a lot of the stuff that was shown. Like, so many things were serious and life altering and, you know, great games, but just more of a darker theme. And when Last Flag dropped, it was just like a breath of fresh air for some. And, you know, the audience response to it was just like, they were excited. I know I was super excited. You know, it's colorful, it's fun, and it's engaging, you know. So when you have a game that's centered around fun, you can't help but to have fun while working on it too.
Yeah, I mean, that's that was the first thing, because I remember when you first hit me to the team and the project and stuff, and I started to look at it, and I was like, oh yeah, like the vibe is chill, like it's a fun hangout vibe. Like, I know me as a person who is too competitive to play video games often. Mac, I share your same sentiment of the like a little bit competitive, and you got to tone it down a little bit here and there because you're just like, that version of me is coming out that I don't necessarily need. But I'm that same way. But games that lean this way and have that kind of, again, aesthetic that feels interesting and fun, and we definitely have to talk about the music, because I think the music is a part of another layer of this big ensemble of work that's happening. But I do want to ask one question that goes before that, which is one of the things that I really was interested in, and while we continue to talk about this gameplay loop and all the characters that are there, you have these 5 different players in a game. You have what it seems like 5 different characters, and I'm sure more will come, later on once things are out in the world. How are you thinking about not only differentiation between those characters? I mean, of course, aesthetically and visually, they will all look different, sound different, all that stuff. But are you thinking about them as archetypes in terms of the way they play, or is it a kind of jack of all trades that gets changed with abilities, tools, and things like that? Or is it each one of those characters, when you are going into a match, you're like, ooh, I'm going to pick Julius because Julius does a certain thing that I need to give us the best chance of success? What's the kind of version of that for you all?
Yeah, it's a great question. And some of the answer comes back to the core of, we really wanted a game where different types of players could contribute. So think of it more like contestants who might cater to different play styles than contestants that fill specific individual necessary roles. We don't have, for example, a pure healer, or a pure tank. And the reason is, there's a couple of reasons, but one of them is, it's a little different than like, an Overwatch or a game where you're kind of pushing down a lane where, hey, you need to have a shield, you're going to be behind. Like, this is asymmetrical warfare, and you have to be dangerous in a lot of different situations. So I need to be able to be helpful, during the flag finding phase and taking over control points. I need to be helpful bringing that flag back. I need to be helpful defending it, or attacking a base assault. And so even though, I might have, if I'm playing like the Lumberjack, I might be a great in-person close combat brawler. I might be good with crowd control, and I might struggle at a distance. I'm still not going to be painted in a corner where I can't participate or do something meaningful at every stage of the match. And so we look at each of our contestants in that way. So if I'm playing, a scout, I might be really great at, mobile, I can hold on to this gun that's pulled by a bird and fly across the map, or I could steer the bird to go target people. But I've got a gun that could do some danger, and I might have to play to kind of cater to that style. But typically, we think of our heroes having at least 1 or 2 or 3 different types of things that make them special, but not something that pigeonholes you so much that it's like, we can't play if we don't have the bounty hunter on our team. We have to. We try to avoid that kind of situation.
I like that, because that gives people the ability to find a role that they like and continue to kind of build on that. I know for me as a big, and I'll reference another game because I think it's apropos, but I think for me as a person who liked old school Battlefield, and I'm a big old school Battlefield fan, right? Like, I was the person running into the fray to go give everybody ammo and feeling like I'm doing my job. Like, I'm doing the thing that I really want to be doing. I know it's helping the team. I'm also seeing my stats grow while I do it, but I'm also contributing in a way that's not just trying to get kills on that side of the fence, which is great. I love that that's a part of the philosophy for how you're thinking about this in this way. So that makes me happy as a person who, I'm getting old. My eye-hand coordination isn't as good as it used to be.
I can't do Call of Duty anymore, man. I'm like 2 minutes in, I get headshotted by a 12-year-old, and I just want to cry.
There's not enough coffee in the world yet for me to get good at Call of Duty again. I am team camper in Call of Duty. People hate me, but I'm like, look, all you young kids, y'all can run around in a circle all you want. I'm gonna stay right here and just shoot you when you can.
Yeah, I'm the battle royale guy that will go hide with the shotgun in the closet. It's so bad. Look, I'm trying so hard to get that chicken dinner that I'll do anything.
Look, I'm trying to change the meta in the way that we talk about campers in games, from you're not camping, you're playing smarter and not harder. That's the way that.
I like that. You just did a new term. The way, camper sounds too lazy. It's going to be like, the watcher. Yes. I don't know what it is. We think of something.
You played like an idiot.
It's the same in the fighting game. It's the same in the fighting games too, because I can't combo like I used to.
Yeah.
Like I tried, and it's like the body is willing, like the mind is willing, but the body is weak.
Yes.
Like I notice my fingers are like this. I'm like, oh my God. So now I kind of turtle more now. Now I turtle. You remember that term turtling?
Yeah, of course.
So,
yeah. I mean,
what about you, Jay? Like.
Yeah, in terms, what kind of gameplay style do you kind of?
She looks young though. She
brutal. So Jay is good, man. That's all. She's dangerous.
Oh, you're being kind. Come on. Well, it's funny because when we play against Mac, the goal is to kill Mac. It doesn't matter if we're winning, if we're killing Mac or winning. So.
Y'all do Mac like that?
Take the boss out.
And Jay's not lying. She's not lying. It's like don't worry about the flag, guys. Just I see Mac on point C.
Just take Mac out.
Rally. Let's just kill him like 3 times. And it's not because I'm particularly dangerous. It's just because they know that I'm freaking out on the other end somewhere.
I mean, again, video games are psychological. It is psychological warfare. You got sometimes you got to take the mind out of the game to affect the body.
Yeah.
That being said, I do want to talk a little bit about the music layers of this. I'd be remiss to not talk about the work that you have done with Imagine Dragons and your brother Dan as a frontman for the team, for the crew. What has it been like to kind of, again, have this experience be something collaborative in family, to be able to build something really cool like this? And what has it been like to kind of, I didn't know that he was a person who coded, we all are uber talented in so many different ways, but it's always cool to be able to see people come out of that, the usual space that you see them in, to do something different in those ways. What has it been like to collaborate on this process with your brother and talk about, what is Imagine Dragons kind of brought to this from a musical standpoint?
Yeah, it's been super awesome. Dan and I, we've worked together with the band, obviously, like 15 years, and we've taken kind of our journey, like ups and downs, and that can be hard, right? Like, this has been awesome because it's kind of a true partnership. It was kind of born purely out of like love for gaming, and like that was like the only impetus, and so it's been really great. And Dan he's I don't want to give him too much credit, because if he hears it, his head's just gonna but he's very good. He's very good at like coming in. He'll look at a build or something, hasn't seen something in a minute. He'll come in and just immediately be like, well, what about this and this? And this seems like it might be a little bit off. And I'm like, oh, I hate him because I know he's right, and it's like he has a very good gut instinct on things, and a lot of these ideas started with like some hand-drawn animations he did, some music and voiceover stuff he did. We'll share it at some point in time. Sure. It's definitely come a ways from where it was, but there was a lot of exciting things about it. And it's funny because we were like, we're not making a music game, like we're just making a game, like this is not about the music, but it's like impossible for us to totally escape it. And I think we did see an opportunity where a lot of time, especially in shooters, it's like music is like kind of an afterthought. It's kind of like slapped on at the end. It's the first thing to cut from the budget. We really did want to turn that on its head. And so, we have an amazing audio director, like Dave Lowmiller has just done some awesome work. He worked on Battlefield, a ton of other great games. But, he comes from this kind of metal band background.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And with him and Dan, and then we have this kind of Grammy-nominated producer, writer, JT Daly, who does just loves like old 70s, like analog stuff. Those three together have just been having so much fun working on the music. And it's all 70s instruments. It's like recorded, very analog, and you feel it in the game. And it's different than your typical shooter experience. Like when you're hiding the flag for the first minute, there's this spy thriller 70s song that plays that gives you this you feel a way that it's a little different than you usually feel in a shooter. It feels good, and you're going around trying to be sneaky and hide your flag, and you're thinking, and you hear these horns and the stand-up bass, and it's it's cool, man. And there's the same thing for the last 60 seconds. There's a 60-second countdown song. it feels like Chicago on steroids, kind of. It's like it's really fun, and it drives the gameplay in some ways. It's a little unexpected.
I love that.
My favorite one.
See, like you already sold me, but like when you start to drop stuff like that, I'm like, oh, because I'm a big nerd for that stuff. Like those moments where you're adding additive things to the gameplay through the music, the soundtrack, the space, and I love to hear you talk about the kind of collaborative space there, right? Like you have game veterans who have made some of my favorite sounds and music within games. And then Dan, who has made amazing music over his career, and getting the fresh eyes from him and the legacy work that those folks have done in a space like this around a genre where I would not think that those things would mash up with the people who you just talked about, makes me really excited, because I'm like, ooh, it's a new take on their versions of what this music could be and what these soundtracks can be, what these soundscapes going to be. That's dope. I love stuff like that. That's cool.
Panic music is crazy.
Yeah,
that panic music is crazy. Like when I love that you call it like panic I was literally. That's why I could, because like when that countdown comes on, I'm like, oh my god! Like the one I was on where I knew we was going to win it. I'm ducking here in the corner, just trying to cover for the guy. So if anyone comes in, I'm picking them off, and the music is like faster, and I'm like, oh my god! So I'm like looking from left to right, and all of a sudden, a swarm, the team swarmed in and killed us and took the flag back. Like that, the way the music kicked up in that, it was like that. Yeah, it was. Oh man,
I'm gonna forever call it the panic song now. I'm never gonna be able to do that. It's really true though. It really does. Like, it really is the panic music. It's no question, man.
Jay now has a new Jira ticket that is just called panic music.
Yeah.
Send me the royalties. I want the royalties on that.
Here's an even better idea, Eli, for a version of that. I want a version of a track by Dan, and I want you to do the ad-libs in that track.
I would do that too.
I want you to do the panic ad-libs.
I would do it.
Just like the music is going. Oh shit, it's happening. Like, Julius cussing throughout the thing in the background, just like, you better hurry your ass up. You
anyway. You know what, the main theme song is like, it's good, it's fun, but like we have this woman, Lindsay, on our team.
Yeah,
she's amazing, and Lindsay is always singing her own, like, you don't really know what Dan's singing a lot of the times. Yeah. I don't know what the words are. She's like, your mama get something. I don't know what she's saying, something, but she's singing it all the time when we're waiting for the game to start. And so we've always talked about, like, there's got to be like some kind of like voice pack, like Lindsay theme song version. So we'll have to get the scat Eli panic music at the end too. Because
I will do it.
That would seal the deal, man. Sign me up.
That would be an honor.
Lindsay,
that would be an honor.
If you're listening to the show, write in the comments what lyrics you were singing, so we can figure out what that was.
I don't think she's singing real words, but we'll make her drop a voice memo in there for us.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I've been doing a podcast for 11 years. I don't say real words. It's the same, same but different. Man, we're time has flown, and we're almost out of time. But I do want to go around the panel and talk really quickly about what's the main thing that you want players to come away with? What's the thing that you want players to really invest in? What's the thing that, again, there's a lot of things to discuss about the game that haven't been shared yet, but what's that main thing? What's that main nugget that you want them to come away with when they get a chance to play it, Mac? I'll give you the end stage to be able to share that.
Yeah, for me, as somebody who grew up playing games with friends, I grew up doing the LAN parties Eli's talking about. Yeah. In fact, in my dentist's office at night, we shut it down. He would let us use his, it was like the first network computers we ever saw. We'd all be sitting in dentist chairs playing like Unreal Tournament together, And this game, I hope it recreates some of that nostalgic fun with your friends stuff that, those moments are especially every year that goes by, like how you spend your time is so valuable. And if you're spending with your friends, just having an amazing time, that's what our game's all about. I'm going to make a little plug, which I hope people go to lastflag.com.
Yes.
You can go sign up to get on our playtest queue right now. And we're going to be really soon bringing a ton of people into playtest. So that's my plug.
I love it. I will be doing that right after we finish recording today because I need.
Khalif, you need to come play, man. We're going to bring you in. You got to come. We got to do this.
Please do, because again, like all the layers and nuggets you shared during the show, you and Jay and Eli, like all of those things are, again, saying everything I want to hear about a game like this. I am very, very excited for everything that you're bringing to the table, and all of the pieces sound like they're really coming together, and I'm just hyped for all of it. Again, as a person who loves this genre, seeing it come back to life in a space like this with this version aesthetic and all the pieces that are there, real dope. I'm excited for all of it.
Thank you so much.
So, Eli, Jay, Mac, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Everybody at home, please, please, please go check out Last Flag. Go to lastflag.com, you said? Go to lastflag.com.
And you can wishlist it on Steam as well.
Wishlist the game on Steam. Get those wishlist numbers as high as they can go. And again, this won't be the last conversation we have with you all. Please, 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 you always have a seat here at Spawn on Me. I want to continue to hear how things are going with the project, and any ways that we can be helpful and be involved in any of it. Please let me know, because I'm down. Especially because
I want to give a big thank you before we go out too. By the way,
yeah, please.
Please. I want to give a big thank you to the Night Street Games team, to Gerald Valoria, for introducing me to Mac and the entire team. Like Jay, meeting you. All of you have been excellent. It's been a joy working with y'all, and I look forward to the continuing working relationship with this. I got to give a shout out to my team as well, of Tanisha, who is a dynamite PR strategist, who is always in the trenches getting in work. Arthur Milano as well, which Khalif, I know you know Arthur, as my senior advisor, and Jawanza Hall, who handles all my graphics. And Khalif, I appreciate you allowing us to set this meeting up so we can get more eyes on the project and introduce it to an audience that may not have seen it.
I mean, well, again, like, this is the reason why I love hanging with you, fam. Like, you always are around good people, and you're always around folks who are doing fun stuff. Anytime that you can bring dope people to the show to be able to showcase their work, that's what the show is here for. So massive love to you and the team. Again, massive love to everybody at Night Street. I'm expecting that track with the with the ad libs at some point down the line. Maybe we put that in the DLC bucket somewhere. Figure out a way to make that happen somewhere down the line. But definitely make sure you're checking out the game. Make sure you're paying attention to all of it. And we're going to end out this episode of Spawn on Me. It was a banger as always. If you want to check out more of our work and you want to check out all the dopeness that we have, go to all the spots that we're in. YouTube.com/Spawn on Me. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, all the places that podcasts reside. And we have more dopeness coming to Spawn on Me next week with a new episode coming to you from Chicago. So much love to you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Wash your hands. Wash your butt. And be good to each other. Take it easy.
Thanks, Khalif. Appreciate you.
Peace.
Thank you.
See you.